So from the age of 17, I failed with online business for about 3 years. And I tried literally every single business model that you've probably seen online in the past. And I just remember myself like staying up late at night, barely been able to go to sleep, just thinking about like, how am I gonna be able to make all this money? How am I gonna be able to start traveling, leave my parents' house? And I was stressed. There was so many nights where I was just like thinking about, maybe I should give up, maybe I should just go back into the 9 to 5. But eventually, I learned one key lesson I'm gonna share with you in this video. That's changed everything for me. Allowing me to get to a point where I'm now making well over $20,000 a month at 22 years old. I travel the world, I have freedom to be exactly where I wanna be whenever I want. And I've built a skill that's allowed me to never worry about money ever again. So if you're someone who can relate to what I just told you in terms of where I was at before, you will be able to take a lot of value away from this video. And it's gonna save you a shit ton of time, get you to where you wanna go way faster. I'm just out here right now on a walk. I'm just passing by the school that I used to go to when I was younger. That's why I was thinking about this stuff right now. I used to struggle so much with online business, you know. I got into online business in the first place to provide freedom for myself. I wanted to be able to avoid the Swedish winters, you know. I hated being here when it's like cold and like it's dark in the winters, you know. I wanted to be able to travel, always be somewhere warm, be able to provide for my family, be able to give stuff to my mom, to my dad, be able to take care of my future family as well, my future kids, be able to give them a life of freedom, all these different things, you know. I had a lot of very strong motivation to get into online business. I started trying different things. I remember getting into drop shipping, you know. I started seeing people selling courses online. I was like 16, 17 years old. I was like, okay, how do I start making money online? Okay, let's just buy someone's course and maybe that's gonna allow me to start making money. I did that, and I tried drop shipping, then I tried SMMA, and I remember just like putting all of my effort into these different things, buying a course, my friends at school telling me that I was completely retarded, my parents even like calling me out for like, why are you buying a course for like $2,000 instead of just like focusing on school, you know, and going into university, etc. But I was just like, I would believe it because these other guys that I saw online, they were doing it. I also believe that I could do it myself as well. So I started buying these different courses. Started buying dropshipping course and getting into, I didn't buy a trading course, but I was doing trading on my own. I lost some money there, lost some money in dropshipping. And then I got into SMMA. That was the thing I really committed to. I bought like an SMMA course. It was $2,000 to get into that, and I was like, this is it, you know. Like I saw this guy that I've been following for a long time, a Swedish guy. I was like, okay, I'm gonna do SMMA, I'm gonna make a shit ton of money by doing this, and this is like the end goal for me, you know. So got into SMMA, closed like 5 clients in my first couple of months doing it, but I couldn't deliver results for any of my clients. I ended up not making any money from those clients at all. I made like a couple of like $1,000, you know. That was it in like probably 6 months worth of work, you know, so pretty much no money at all. And the thing I was facing, like when I was running my agency and I was doing an SMMA, if you don't know what that is, it's basically when you just try to sign up like local businesses, like solar businesses, car dealerships, and try to run their ads. That's the model I was doing. I love the sales part. I was cold calling and I was hopping on sales calls and closing deals left and right, you know. But then it was like my clients I was running ads for my clients, you know, Facebook ads to get them customers. And I was running ads and I was like, okay, how do I make my ads better? How do I write copy on my ads? How do I find better creatives? How do I make sure to actually like convert these leads into actual sales, you know? Like how do I make sure these things actually happen? And that was the issue, because that didn't happen. I was signing up clients left and right, but they didn't get results, so they dropped me. And I was just left at a position where I was like 18 years old. I didn't have any business experience whatsoever. I had no idea like how to think about running a business. There was so many different things for me to learn. I was in this program, but I was learning about sales. I was learning about appointment setting. I was learning about prospecting. I was learning about copywriting. I was learning about media buying, fulfillment, how to convert leads for a business, how like a car dealership operates, how a solar business operates. Like there's so many different things I was learning, and that's why I was overwhelmed, and that's why I was stuck, because like learning those different skills at 18 years old at the same time, it's hard. Let me tell you that. And things really clicked for me when I understood this, you know. So you're probably watching this right now, you probably relate to this, where like you have goals of making money online, and like you see people, maybe see this guy Bress and other people that are talking about like how you can make money with an agency, etc. But the thing is, it is very complex. And if you don't have the right like mindset coming into it, if you don't have experience of doing sales, marketing, it's hard as a beginner to get into it and start making money. Okay. So sorry if I'm a bit out of breath. I just walked up that hill there. What I did to actually fix this. So it really changed everything for me. So I hopped on a sales call when I was running my agency to just join a program to get better at my agency. And I was talking with this guy, and he started telling me about what he was doing, you know. He's like, I'm not actually running my own agency, I'm just doing sales, you know. I'm doing sales for this coaching program that was helping agencies grow. He's like, yeah, I'm actually making over $20,000 this month. I'm sitting here. He was actually, that guy was out in Medellin, Colombia, which I ended up, funny enough, going to Medellin, Colombia and living there for almost 2 years after that. And he was like, yeah, I'm just taking sales calls, I'm making all this money. I don't have to deal with fulfillment. I don't have to deal with running ads. I only do like the actually closing the deal, you know, just talking with people that already want to buy and closing the deals. And I was like, what if I just do this stuff, you know, instead of having to run this entire business to just make, like barely make even 5K a month, what if I could just take sales calls, make way more money doing it? So I realized that was a better path for me to take, just go all in on sales, something that I was already good at, something that I already liked doing, and just using that skill in a vehicle where I was working for someone else, you know. I realized that, but I didn't take action on it because I had a massive ego of wanting to be a business owner, you know. I was like, okay, I'm not going to work for someone else. I'm not going to be a salesperson. I'm going to be my own business owner. I'm going to have complete time freedom and location freedom and all these different things. And I can't have that if I work for someone else. So and this held me back honestly for like a couple of months, where I was just like continuing to struggle with my agency, trying to figure that out. And it wasn't working, and I was kind of like half in, you know, I wasn't fully committed as well, which is obviously a massive problem when you're not fully committed in something. And I was just like half in, half out for a long time. And eventually it got to a point where like I was living with my parents. I was running out of savings because I was paying all these different softwares to run my agency, not making any money. And I was just getting really, really desperate. Like I had to get out of my parents' house, you know. There was like so many limiting beliefs that I was hearing from my parents. I didn't like being around them. It was starting to get colder in Sweden. Like so many different things that was like telling me like, Alex, you need to make a change. You need to do something different. And eventually I ended up just going into, I got a mentor and just went all in. Okay, I'm going to land a sales role. I'm going to, number one, start practicing, start role playing, and just get really, really good, like dial in my sales skills, and then find a role to go and work for. So I did that, you know. I committed myself, landed like my first sales role, went all in there. And I sucked in the beginning. I was absolute dog shit when I came into the first role. But I just like put my head down, got feedback, got coaching, and eventually, let me turn back and head back, you know. And eventually I actually got really, really good. And I went from making my first month about $4,000 to my third month making $10,000. And now I have scaled way beyond that, where I'm making like multiple grand per day oftentimes, and well over $20,000 per month doing this, you know. So obviously that's a very like short summary to the story, but the biggest takeaway from you watching this right now is understanding two different things. Number one, that becoming a business owner, it's hard, okay? I know you see all these guys online, probably people like me as well, you know, people talking about like, oh yeah, you make money online, you just start your own business and you will become rich. But like, truth is that a business is built upon skills, okay? If you don't have the skill of sales, etc. right now, building a business is going to be hard. When you know how to sell, when you know marketing, etc., running a business becomes easy. But learning sales, marketing, fulfillment, all these different things at the same time is hard, okay? That's why I recommend everyone, and why I truly believe in. I'm not just saying this, like I've worked with over 100 guys at this point from all kinds of different backgrounds. People that have literally zero experience, they've never taken a sales call in their entire life. And I've seen those guys go from zero to making over $10,000 per month because they focus on one skill, because they do things in the right way. Instead of starting their own business, they get really good at sales. And here's the thing as well, you know, if you have this like ego belief that, yeah, I'm gonna be a business owner, I'm never gonna work for someone else, I don't wanna be a sales rep, I wanna have my own business. Understand that every single business out there, every business is built upon sales, okay? Like there's no big company that's very successful that does not need sales, which means that if you want to be able to lead people, if you want to be able to close people, if you want to be able to like influence anyone, you need sales. And like life is sales, relationships, friendships, leadership, management, like everything that you do in your life, whatever job you're going to go into, is going to benefit from sales. So that's why I personally love it. It's like the best thing I've ever done in my entire life to get into sales. And it's allowed me to get the freedom now where I can just, whenever I want, travel anywhere I want in the entire world. Right now I'm home visiting my parents here in Sweden. Soon gonna start traveling again and head somewhere that maybe I haven't been before, or maybe go back to somewhere I've already been. But you have that freedom to just like pick up your stuff, go somewhere and never worry about money when you actually learn a skill and you've taken the time to get good at something. And I want to leave it with this as well. Shifting your identity from is like a normal 9-to-5er or from school into a business owner, very hard, okay? However, shifting from a 9-to-5er or a school, like being in school, to getting into sales, way easier, you know? That's why it's a good place to start, because you can realistically, I've seen this time and time again, where people with no experience come into sales, start making money literally their first month, even within weeks. You know, I had guys like one guy that I trained, his name is Jan, he landed a role in 5 days of working together with no experience, you know? You can get quick results like that in sales because you don't need to change your entire being. You don't need to like completely redefine who you are as a person to come into this and start making money. It's pretty simple to get started. You can see quick wins, you can see quick results, and you can build up on that. And you can grow in the space, become a closer, become a sales manager, become a business owner, become a growth operator. There's a lot of room to grow when you actually started off in the space, started making money. So if you want help with getting into high ticket sales, get coached by me one-on-one and get connected with good offers from my network. If you're someone who likes talking to people and you think you'll do great in sales, I can definitely help you get into a good offer. I have multiple offers for hiring from my private network right now. So if you want coaching and getting into this, apply by booking a call down below this video. If you have any questions, DM me on Instagram. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Ciao.